dawn, the forest glowed with mist like breath from a sleeping giant. Birds called from branches high above. Necker squatted beside the small fire, rubbing her arms, feeling the dry flakes where her scales itched. Beside her, Ikenna packed a raffia bag with the few things they had: dried fish, strips of smoked bushmeat, a small gourd of palm wine, and a coil of white cloth Mama Hugo had given him. Necker touched the cloth. "What if the spirit refuses me?" she asked. Ikenna did not look up. He tied the bundle tight. "Then we beg harder." She watched him work, his strong hands, the calm set of his jaw. In the village, they would have called him foolish for helping a girl like her. But here in the forest, he was just Ikenna, the boy who brought her roasted yam and listened to her secrets. The first gift was life itself: eggs. Mama Hugo's instructions were clear: eggs for Ikneen to replace what was lost. Ikenna knew of an old guinea fowl nest near a thorny thicket. The birds were fierce mothers, they pecked any hand that reached for their clutch. But the eggs were pure, untouched. They crept through the bush in silence. Ikenna raised his finger to his lips when he spotted the mother bird, feathers fluffed, guarding her nest. Slowly, he crawled forward, spreading ash from their fire to mask his scent. Necker crouched behind him, breath caught in her throat. Her scales made no noise against the grass. When Ikenna reached the nest, the guinea fowl hissed. He spoke to it in soft Igbo, words his mother taught him to calm stubborn hens. "Biko, we need these more than you." The bird pecked at his arm, but he did not flinch. One by one, he took 3 warm eggs and slipped them into a basket padded with soft leaves. When they stepped away, Necker whispered, "Will the mother bird forgive us?" Ikenna looked back at the angry flapping wings. "Perhaps. We only took what we must." By midday, the sun hung high, burning away the mist. They walked narrow paths known only to hunters, places no farmers dared clear. Tall trees leaned over them, vines drooping like watchful eyes. Suddenly, a rustle. A low growl. Ikenna froze, hand on his bow. A dark shape moved in the underbrush, not a snake, but a bush pig, tusks curved, eyes wild with hunger and fear. Necker stepped back, heart hammering. Ikenna raised his bow, aimed, but his fingers trembled. If he killed the pig now, would that be another life stolen in a place meant for an apology? He lowered his bow. The bush pig snorted, pawed the ground, then turned and crashed through the undergrowth, vanishing into the tangle. Necker exhaled. "Why didn't you shoot?" Ikenna wiped sweat from his brow. "Today, we take only what we must. No more." Necker nodded. She touched the eggs in the basket, feeling their warmth. The forest watched them, testing them at every step. By dusk, they reached the place Mama Hugo described. A thick cluster of ancient trees where the roots knotted like sleeping serpents. Vines dangled heavy with moss. The air smelled of wet earth and old secrets. At the foot of the biggest tree lay a hollow, wide enough for a child to crawl through. Ikenna touched the bark. It felt warm under his palm. "This is where we wait," he said. "At midnight, we crawl inside." Necker shivered. The scales on her back tingled, alive with a memory she did not own, the memory of a python coiled in a burrow. She sank to her knees beside the hollow. Ikenna unwrapped the white cloth, spread it neatly on the ground. He placed the eggs at its center. The gourd of palm wine beside them. He scattered coconut crumbs around the cloth, just as Mama Hugo instructed. As the last light faded, they sat side by side, backs against the great tree. Necker could feel Ikenna's warmth through his shoulder pressed against hers. "Are you afraid?" he asked. She stared at the dark hole where roots twisted like sleeping serpents. "Yes." He smiled. "Me too." The forest at night was never silent. Crickets sang. Distant owls hooted. Somewhere far off, a tree branch cracked under the weight of something unseen. At midnight, the wind died. Even the insects fell silent. The air pressed down on them like wet cloth. Ikenna leaned forward. It is time. Neka's hands trembled as she lifted the eggs, holding them close. She crawled first into the hollow earth cold against her knees, roots brushing her shoulders like fingers. The tunnel curved down, deeper than it looked from outside. She felt the earth breathe around her, warm, damp, alive. Ikenna crawled behind her, guiding the gourd and the cloth bundle. After what felt like forever, the narrow path widened into a small chamber under the tree. A faint light glowed, not fire, but something softer, like moonlight trapped in the soil. Neka set the eggs on the ground. She laid the white cloth over a flat stone. She placed the gourd of palm wine beside it. Then she knelt. Ikenna stayed a few paces back, head bowed. Neka pressed her forehead to the earth. Her voice broke the heavy silence. Ikneen, mother of pythons, forgive me. I am not my father. I did not take your children. I only carry his sin on my skin. Her voice cracked. Tears fell, soaking the earth. She whispered on. I bring you life for life. Wine for peace. Cloth for your shame. Take this curse away from me. I want only to be human. The light in the chamber flickered. A soft hiss, then another. Scales brushed the stone behind her. Ikenna looked up, eyes wide, as a massive python slithered from a crack in the earth. Its head was wide as a man's chest, eyes like cold embers. It coiled near the eggs. Its tongue flicked the air, tasting Neka's fear, her tears, her truth. Neka did not move. She felt the python's breath on her cheek. Its scales brushed hers, scale against scale. Behind her, Ikenna whispered, "Stay still." The python lifted its head. For a moment, its eyes met hers. Deep, ancient, sad. Then it curled around the eggs, covering them completely. It lowered its head, pressing its jaw to the stone. The chamber filled with the faint sound of something like a sigh, the sound of the forest letting out a breath it had held for years. The light dimmed. Neka's arms tingled. She felt warmth spread through her shoulders, down her back. Her scales itched, then burned, then loosened like dry bark peeling from a tree. She gasped but did not move. She closed her eyes and whispered one last time, "Forgive me." When they crawled out at dawn, the forest was alive with birdsong again. The air smelled sweet, heavy with dew. Ikenna looked at her, really looked. Her arms were raw, pink where the scales had fallen away. Her shoulders gleamed with soft, new skin. She touched her face, chest, belly, feeling only warmth, no cold plates of scale, no serpent's touch. Ikenna took her hands, turning them over. "Neka." She laughed, a sound so pure the trees seemed to lean closer. Tears rolled down her cheeks, warm and human. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." Ikenna only held her close, his heartbeat steady against hers. Above them, high in the branches, a lone python watched, then vanished into the green shadows, leaving no trace but a gentle hiss on the wind. When the sun rose that morning, it poured gold through the tall trees. The forest, which had hidden Neka's shame for so long, now felt like an old friend, opening its arms to let her pass back to the world she had fled. Ikenna held her hand as they walked. Her skin, once rough with scales, was now tender and pink where the old skin had fallen away. She winced each time a twig scratched her arm, but she did not complain. Pain was a gift, proof that she was flesh, not serpent. They reached the edge of the forest by midday. From there, they could see the red roofs of Umuaka village shimmering in the heat. Smoke curled from kitchen fires. Children's laughter floated faintly on the wind. Neka stopped. She squeezed Ikenna's hand. What if they send me away again? Ikenna turned to her, brushed a strand of hair from her face. You are not the same girl they cast out. And they will see that. Neka looked down the narrow path. She took a breath. She did not feel brave. But her feet moved forward anyway. Word of their return spread before they reached the first compound. Women carrying clay pots paused mid-step. Children peered from behind their mothers' wrappers. An old man squinting into the sun rubbed his eyes twice, as if he could not trust them. They passed the village square where Neka once played, before whispers turned into stones. She heard the hiss of low voices. Is that her? Is it true she's human now? At the stream where she once washed alone at night, girls fetching water stared openly. One dropped her calabash in the shallow pool, letting it float away. Ikenna held her hand tighter. An old woman stepped forward, bold enough to cross their path. It was Mema Ifema, the same elder who spat when Obinna dragged home the giant python years ago. Her back was bent now, but her tongue was still sharp. She squinted at Neka's bare arms. Where is your serpent skin? She asked, voice cracked by age and suspicion. Neka lifted her arms, turning them slowly. Smooth, tender skin shone in the sun. Mema Ifema sniffed. She turned her eyes to the sky, muttered something in Igbo too low to hear, and spat on the ground, not at Neka's feet this time, but beside her own. Let the spirits judge you now, she said, and hobbled away. At Obinna's old compound, weeds choked the yard. The mud walls had cracked under years of rain. The door hung crooked. Neka stood before it, memories crowding her head, nights she lay awake listening to her father's drunken mutters, days she watched through gaps in the wall as other children ran free under the sun. She stepped inside. The air smelled of dust and rat droppings. A broken stool lay on its side. The old cooking stones were cold. Ikenna watched her carefully. Do you want to stay here? Neka shook her head. No. This place is full of ghosts. She stepped out, closing the door gently as if to let the past rest. By evening, word reached the village elders. They called for Ikenna and Neka to come to the Obi, the big meeting hall where matters of land and life were settled. Inside, the oldest men sat on low stools, white hair coiled like cotton on their heads. They looked at Neka as if they expected to see scales sprouting any moment. One cleared his throat. Girl. They say you were cursed. Now they say you are not. What should we believe? Neka did not kneel like a guilty child. She stood tall, her feet firm on the packed earth. My father sinned against the spirits. He killed what should have been spared. I carried his shame. But the spirit has been appeased. The forest has forgiven me. A second elder, his voice softer, asked, What do you want from us? Neka looked at Ikenna before answering. Nothing. I only came to show you I am no longer a curse among you. If you wish me gone, I will go. But not with shame. The hall fell silent. The oldest elder, whose eyes had seen more harvests than any living soul in Umuaka, leaned forward. Your father brought ruin with his pride. You bring peace with your humility. Go where you wish, child. May the python spirit leave you in peace. They did not stay in Obinna's house. Instead, Ikenna led Neka to a patch of land near the forest's edge. There, they built a small hut, walls of red earth, roof thatched with palm fronds. Every day, they worked side by side, gathering wood, weaving mats, digging a small garden patch for yam and okra. Sometimes children from the village would creep near, hoping to see if her scales would return. They hid behind shrubs, giggling when she caught them staring. She did not chase them away. Instead, she called them closer, offered them sweet palm kernels. Slowly, the fear faded. Some nights, old Mama Yugo came to visit. She sat by their fire, chewing kola nut and muttering prayers that only the spirits understood. "You carry your mother's strength," Mama Yugo told her one night, eyes soft with wisdom. "You turned shame into blessing. Never forget that." One night, months later, Ikenna and Neka walked back to the ancient Iroko where her curse ended. The tree loomed above them, roots tangled like the past they had shed. Under its branches, Ikenna took her hands. "Neka, if you wish it, we can marry here, under the tree that gave you back to yourself." She laughed, leaning her forehead against his. "I do wish it. This tree knows my true name." The forest rustled around them, leaves whispering secrets to the wind. Years passed. Neka's skin never turned to scales again. She and Ikenna raised children who knew the ways of the forest but never feared its spirits. They taught them to hunt with respect, never to kill a mother animal, never to take more than they needed. When people spoke of the girl with snake skin, they told it as a warning but also as a song of hope. They said that shame could be peeled away, that forgiveness could be found in the darkest corners of the bush, and that the spirits of the forest listened, if only one had the courage to speak. And when old women gathered by moonlight, they ended the tale with the same words every time. Never hunt with pride. Never mock the spirits. And when you see a snake on your path, greet it. For you never know which mother watches you from the shadows.